Well, the Rumble was a thing, and how in the fuck did they manage to out-fuck up the 2014 Rumble? Seriously. All they had to do was not be shit. That's all they had to do. Just put together a show that made some semblance of sense, and they couldn't have fucked up harder. This is the Haymakers talking about why the Royal Rumble was absolute dog garbage. Hello everyone, my name is Nikki VMLP. Welcome to the Haymakers, and joining me on this wonderful Monday evening is...
Toon Critic Y2K.
DJ Calcos.
Yeah.
Man, I thought TLC was bad. This is taking things to a whole new level.
This is the kind of shit that destroys empires and takes down dictators. This is the kind of thing where it really shows to the fans that you don't matter. You don't. And the people that work the hardest, the people that train the longest, the people that have the know-how, and the people that have the talent are overshadowed by the one who is given the brass rings. And that is the difference between someone like John Cena and the difference between someone like Roman Reigns. Cena worked for his brass rings. Cena fought long and hard for his spot in the WWE, and love him or hate him, he's there for a reason. Roman Reigns got his rings handed to him on a silver fucking platter.
When he was out there at the end of the Royal Rumble with The Rock holding up his hand, I honestly expected the crowd to start chanting, "Die, Roman, die," because it was this whole thing is weirdly similar to what happened with Rocky Maivia.
Maivia,
right? To Rocky Maivia, like he was billed as the next guy. He was the can't miss, blue chipper. Just the next star of the company, and he was this smiling, happy, goody two shoes. And everybody was just expected to accept him as the new guy. And he wasn't ready. The crowd just turned on him super quickly to the point where they were chanting, "Die, Rocky, die." And then he got his big turn. He joined the Nation of Domination. He gained a little bit of charisma. And then he eventually morphed into the most electrifying man in sports entertainment.
That was because it started off with something stupid, but yes, he eventually grew into his own... He grew into his own shoes, I guess, in a sense. He became a much better superstar. He became a Hall of Famer. That took years of getting over, and matches, and moments, and title wins, and title losses, feuds, promos, all of that experience. And we're expected to believe that Roman Reigns, all he has to do is just win the Rumble and supposedly go on to WrestleMania to defeat Brock Lesnar. And he'll be the most over person in the world. Oh, okay.
Like, it's a simple thing. Like, Rocky or Maivia, he wasn't, like, given the world title right away, like what they're doing with Reigns. They're basically just saying, he's the guy, and, y'all are just gonna have to deal with that. No, there's a host of really good guys. Just, ugh.
Okay, first off, let's dissect the actual Rumble piece by piece, the entire pay-per-view, specifically the actual Royal Rumble match. So, Nikki, give it a go.
Well, the biggest problem with it is that we all saw it coming from a mile away. We were all talking about it during our predictions for the thing. Some of you guys didn't want to admit, like, just, oh, no, the WWE can't possibly be that stupid. And
yeah, I could make a whole list of friggin' things that WWE has done stupidly wrong. That could be a future video, actually.
Oh, mark it
down. The WWE isn't stupid. They just think that we are. They think that Philadelphia specifically are nothing more. Well, actually, no, they didn't. But I'll get to that later. But they think that because their audience is made up of 7 to 10-year-olds that wear colorful merch all the time, that the fans as a whole will just take whatever they feed us. And What they don't seem to understand is that they know what we want. No, because of how wrestling works, we can't always get what we want, unfortunately. That's just not how it works. But when we are so adamantly against something and you give it to us anyway in its worst possible form, that is just an unbelievable insult to the intelligence of your fans, and it proves and shows why people make so much fun of us.
The Roman Reigns finish was pretty much the most predictable thing possible. The last two, he throws out Kane and Big Show at the same time to look super fucking strong, and then, Rusev appears out of nowhere. Oh, maybe they're gonna have a little interesting one-on-one go to, oh, wait, no, he's already gone.
Think about how protected Rusev is, too. No pins, no submissions, and they stick by that. He's the United States champion, and over time has been making the championship look something that's worth having, because the guy that owns it is completely undefeated within the WWE. And they treated him like a jobber. This is how in they are with Roman Reigns. This is why we can't hijack Raw anymore. We are getting Reigns versus Lesnar at WrestleMania, and Rollins is going to cash in at WrestleMania, and he's going to lose.
You know what would have been a really cool way to pull it off? Last two in the ring, Reigns and Ambrose. How fucking awesome would that be?
The crowd would have shit on that too, because at this point, Roman Reigns has X-Pac heat. They don't hate Reigns the character. They don't hate Reigns the wrestler. They hate Reigns the guy. Because he's been booked so shoddily. It would not have been good, because the instant Daniel Bryan was eliminated before Roman Reigns came out, we all knew what was going to happen. Nothing would have been able to make it predictable at that point. Even if it was, the final four was Reigns, Ambrose, Ziggler, and Rusev. You can still point to Roman Reigns and go, that guy wins. But what makes it worse is that they did it in the worst possible way. Instead of having that final four, they added in Kane and Big Show to the mix, two old-timers that have been with the company for nearly 20 years. We know damn well they're not main eventing WrestleMania. That shows what they take us for. They take us for idiots.
Like, Kane can at least still put on a halfway decent match.
No. We're not pulling that bullshit this time. Kane has no place in the final four of the Royal Rumble. He has no place because at that situation he puts no one over, because there is no chance of him winning the Rumble. None.
There's no way to make that believable. You look at Big Show and Kane, they've had their times. What they're doing in there is just... what they're doing in there is to bury people. They're there to bury Ambrose, and then Ziggler, and then Wyatt.
And then, I will say that Wyatt didn't really get buried because he was in there for 40 minutes and eliminated 6 people.
But the way he got eliminated.
Yes, the way he got eliminated, it was Ambrose, Ziggler, Wyatt, Ryback. They all got eliminated by just being flipped over the top rope by a couple of guys who have been in the company for forever. And as a matter of fact, most people watching today don't know a WWE without Kane. Hell, most people in the company don't know a WWE without Cena. I don't know a WWE without Cena. I do not know a WWE without Cena. And that says a lot.
It's kind of dawning on me. This is starting to remind me of how shit went down in WCW right when they were about to self-destruct. The people who were at the top, Big Show, Kane, the Authority, basically, they're just they're putting themselves at the top even though they have no business being there, and they're not putting anybody over besides the guys that they have pretty much approved of.
Oh, it's just best for business at this point. And I'm being totally sarcastic with that. Here's the thing. The way that they built this whole entire pay-per-view is, we can dissect it, but you can just look at it. You can look at the card, and you can see what went wrong. The whole undercard was nothing but filler. I remember when, in some past Royal Rumble pay-per-views, they put some really good matches on there that meant something. I understand that the whole Royal Rumble itself is built around the Royal Rumble and the big championship match, but you could at least throw in maybe 1 or 2 good matches that actually feel like they're on there. But the 3 tag team matches they put on, even the pre-show match, you can find that on Monday Night Raw or SmackDown. It's nothing special. Then what's it doing on there? It's nothing. It's just filler.
Yeah.
And it really sucks because you have guys like the Usos. You have guys like Goldust and Stardust. You have divas like Paige, Natalya, and the Bellas. You have Tyson Kidd, Cesaro, the New Day, the Ascension, New Age Outlaws. None of it means anything. Absolutely none of it means anything because you're there for the Rumble. You don't give a shit because they're not built up at all, and that is what pisses me off. If you have a pay-per-view, put matches on there that means something. Not just matches you can find on Raw and SmackDown. They have to be special. Because now, I watch Raw, and then I watch a pay-per-view, I'm like, okay, so how is this any different? It's not, because now it just looks the same. It started to look the same when they got rid of all the fancy, like, pay-per-view stuff. You know how, like, the stage looked and everything, all the different layups? Now everything is the same. So it doesn't feel special. It means absolutely fucking nothing.
Like, it doesn't feel like there's any closure to a lot of these rivalries anymore. It just feels like, we've decided that it's ended. It just feels like the WWE has... Like, it's choosing to end it when they decide to end it instead of making it seem more organic. I don't know.
There is no payoff because they don't have any kind of attention span. They can't pick a thing and go all in. And the reason why they can't is twofold. One, it's because what they pick is terrible, or two, they end it too early because they want to move on to something else. It's either a lack of direction or a lack of attention span. And a large part of this has to do with the crowd. The Bellas didn't go anywhere because the crowd turned on it really quickly because it was just awful. It was bad. All right? That's the kind of thing that happens when you hire soap opera writers instead of people that give a shit about wrestling. That is the kind of thing, especially with how Total Divas works. Like I said on the Royal Rumble Predictions podcast, when you look at the Divas, you have to look at the plotline as though it's a giant reality show, because that's what they're looking for. And, well, the Divas division kind of sucks, and has sucked since Beth Phoenix left. So, good job. You've completely ruined one of your divisions. So, now when it comes to the Rumble, it means even less when you remember that there was only one returning star, Zack Ryder.
Out of all the stars, you have perfect opportunity to bring back some stars. You could have brought back Sheamus. You could have brought back Bo Dallas, even though I fucking hate Bo Dallas. At least him coming back might have made things just a slight bit interesting. Or, I don't know, maybe the elephant in the room, maybe the guy that's just kind of been standing there waiting his fucking time, like a guy who's at the grocery store waiting in line with that one little slip to get his friggin' meat. Oh, let's see, what's his name? Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. Randy fucking Orton. Where the fuck is Orton? Seriously, where the fuck is he? He was supposed to debut, re-debut or whatever, back in Survivor Series. Nothing. We've been sitting here with our fingers up our asses waiting for Orton, and here's the perfect chance you have, and what do? You fill it with fucking jobbers. Really? You can't even throw Orton in there anywhere. There's a perfect spot. You could have taken out fucking Titus O'Neil. But no, we gotta have some people just get knocked over because fuck it, we don't care. We only care about like one or two guys. No.
Hell, Titus O'Neil was supposed to tie Santino for the record for the shortest tenure, but
he didn't even do that.
Well,
His
job
was
to fail, and he failed.
Couldn't even do that.
He failed at failing.
Yeah. He was in the Rumble for 4 seconds. He couldn't even tie Santino's record. He couldn't even tie the Warlord's record.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the state of the WWE in 2015.
When the wrestlers fail at failing, there's a big problem.
Yeah. And of course, when Daniel Bryan got eliminated, the crowd shit on everything.
It's like nothing you could do or say will possibly matter now, because I remember just sitting like, okay, I have all my faith in Bryan. I am excited as hell. Then he just gets casually eliminated. What the actual fuck?
I think I know what they were trying to do. They were trying to eliminate him early in the match so that the crowd would just get the booze out of the system. And within 10 minutes, they'd be back to, whoop-hoo-hoo. But they underestimated how freaking awesome that Philadelphia crowd was.
Dude, props to the fucking Philly crowd, man.
Yeah.
That is why Philly is the greatest wrestling city on the planet. Sorry, Toon. Chicago is
No,
awesome.
listen, I totally understand that. I think Chicago is a very close second. Even I think that Philadelphia is the greatest city because if they have a problem with something, they're not going to shut up about it.
They booed.
This was just like on level with like what was it? One of the WrestleManias. What was the one WrestleMania like on the Raw after? The fans would just not stop. I think it was the one where Ziggler finally cashed in.
Might have been. But
it was on that level, I thought. They were vocal, and they stayed vocal. There was nothing but boos throughout the entire thing. And I could tell that, like, people were starting to notice that as well. I started to notice that, like, they seemed to be improvising a little bit, and things kind of didn't seem on script. Hell, when The Rock came out, fucking Dwayne The Rock Johnson comes out, you get a little bit of a pop. Okay. But then he raises up Roman Reigns' hand. The look on his face, which you can see right here, even he is fucking shocked at all this.
Yeah, and the best part is that look goes from shock to anger because he knows full well what it's like to be a babyface that gets booed. He knows way too well. He's mad at the crowd. He's mad at WWE, and most of all, I'm pretty certain he's mad at himself.
The irony for him in this sort of situation must be baffling, I think.
At that moment, when he's raising up Roman Reigns' hand and just everybody's laying into him, he should have went in for a hug on Roman and said, "Drop me right now." And
he really should have. The thing is that if The Rock convinced Reigns to do a heel turn right there, Vince McMahon would have been absolutely pissed. But if there's one person that can fight McMahon, it's The Rock. Okay?
Yes.
If there's one person that can fight McMahon, it's Steve Austin. It's the people that have made him more money than anyone else. You're completely right. The Rock should have just went fuck it and did anything he could to get his nephew over.
I think it would have been great. Yeah, it would have been great if Rock had just rock bottom Roman Reigns because the crowd would have fucking erupted. And if that wouldn't have been a sign that things are fucked up, then I don't know what would have been. I don't know how much louder we have to yell or bang on things to tell Vince, you done fucking goofed.
I don't think we can at this point anymore. It worked last year. It worked with the Occupy Raw thing. That was good. But Vince has already gone on record saying that they're not going to insert Daniel Bryan and they're probably not going to take Roman Reigns out of the title picture. So they don't have very many options at this point. There is very little that they can do to salvage it.
There is one way that they could possibly fix this. If Roman Reigns accidentally injures himself again, pray to God something like that may happen because that's the only way Daniel Bryan is possibly even going to get a shot.
Maybe they come out with some storyline where where the Authority tries to pin some performance enhancers on Roman Reigns. And that's how he was able to eliminate both Kane and the Big Show. And that ends up taking him out. Like, that might be kind of weirdly interesting, but they're not going to do it. They are so all in on Roman Reigns. It's absolutely ridiculous. And the fact that they're doing it at the expense of so many other really good guys, so many other really great wrestlers is just baffling because he's not there. He's just not ready yet.
We can't stress that point enough. The only way that this may work is if Roman Reigns at this point had been in the company for about maybe 5 or 6 years. And he had gone through a lot of matches to prove himself, you know?
Here's the thing. In World Wrestling Entertainment, something died yesterday. Something died for sure. And that was the era of anything can happen. As much as we dreamed that Dolph Ziggler or Daniel Bryan would win the Rumble, anyone who has paid attention to WWE from the very day that The Shield triple powerbombed The Undertaker, has known that Roman Reigns was being firmly positioned as a star. He's got the look, he has the size, he has the legacy. Vincent smelled money. The thing is, in a long ago era of WWE's history, Roman Reigns would have a Jake the Snake Roberts to attack him with a snake on Brother Love's show, or an Intercontinental Champion like Randy Savage to drop a ring bell on his neck. Maybe there'd even be an earthquake to sit on him as he performed feats of strength, but no. That era is dead. There's no more swerves, there's no more twists, there's no more turns. There's none of that, because that indicates a product that isn't completely squeaky clean and by the numbers, alright? All we have is Superman punches to go with a Superman push. That's it. There is no more anything can happen. That era died.
You know what, though? I think there was one positive thing about this pay-per-view. As much as this pay-per-view absolutely sucked, there was only one match on here, I think, that was salvageable. And that's the WWE World Heavyweight Championship Triple Threat match. That match, I've got to give credit for, was great. Even though it had a few faults here and there, at least I enjoyed it, and I think we all enjoyed it as well.
It was...
Okay, look, you call the match great. You just called the triple threat match between John Cena and Seth Rollins and Brock Lesnar for the World Heavyweight Championship. You called it great. You are severely underestimating just how fucking awesome that match was.
That match is an early contender for match of the year. If
I would agree.
it doesn't get a 5-star rating, then the rating system is broken, because that was one of the best matches I've seen as a fan of wrestling in any promotion. It was legit amazing.
Look, you know that they are reaching for the moon when you have Cena doing power bombs and Minchoku drivers. Okay.
Hey, Cena learned more than 4 moves this time.
That's the thing. That's how you know that Cena is trying, and he tries against Rollins. Every match he has with Rollins, he does something new, and it really, really bothers me, actually. It bothers me a lot because he doesn't do that with anybody else. But then you have Cena busting out all these great drivers. You have Lesnar doing Lesnar things at a fucking rate of times 10. And then you have Rollins doing 2 things that stole the fucking show. One, the Shane O'Mac announce table leap.
Which was pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
And then, okay, I have to lay out a situation. I was with my friend, and we were watching the Royal Rumble, and we're getting all hyped up over this match. Cena's laid out on the mat, and Rollins goes up to the top rope, and I'm thinking, okay, so he's gonna go to the top rope, and he's gonna do a top rope curb stomp, and it's gonna be great. Awesome. But then he turns his back to the mat and faces the crowd. I get up immediately out of the couch, and I go, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god! And my friend goes, what's he gonna do? And then Rollins does this Phoenix Splash, and we all go crazy! Because I knew that he was doing a Phoenix Splash! I knew he was, because I'd seen him do that a million times in Ring of Honor, and I was just waiting for the day that he'd bust that out on the WWE main stage. And my friend didn't, and his eyes lit up, and I was so happy! That was so... Oh, God! Dude, like, I felt a sense of euphoria I haven't felt since Eddie Guerrero won the title from Brock Lesnar.
When I first saw the red arrow from Adrian Neville, I was like, holy shit, that is the most amazing move one of the most amazing moves I've ever seen. And I didn't think that I would see something that would somehow top it. But a corkscrew 450 splash?
Phoenix dive. Or Phoenix Splash, sorry.
That shit was unbelievable, and I'll be honest, I never watched Ring of Honor, so I didn't even know he had that move in his arsenal. And when he pulled that shit, I was just, what the fuck was that?
That was pretty cool. I even got up out of my seat. My girlfriend was next to me watching it, and I jumped up like, holy shit, that's some like video game shit right there. And here's the thing. I was so happy about that in particular because I had one of my characters do that move, and I thought to myself, you know what? I don't think that could ever possibly happen. I don't know if there's a single wrestler besides like maybe Evan Bourne or like Adrian Neville that could pull that off. But fucking Seth Rollins does that, and I stand up and I start fucking applauding. I'm just like, yep, you sir have stolen the show from me. I didn't give you enough credit in the past. I sure as hell do now. No, this is interesting because now this match makes me more than ever invested in Seth Rollins. I don't give a fuck about Roman Reigns. I give a fuck about Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins is, to me, the best out of the Shield. If I haven't said that before, I think he is the best out of the Shield. No disrespect to Ambrose. Ambrose is fucking awesome.
Yes.
Roman Reigns, before he got all the monster push and stuff, was great. But Rollins has the mic skills. He has the wrestling ability. He has the look. Maybe not the best theme song, but whatever. That's just one little complaint. But he has the total fucking package. And if this match did not convince me any further on that, then, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what else could make Seth Rollins more over than in this match.
You know,
Seth Rollins being at WrestleMania instead of Roman fucking Reigns.
Oh, man. I really wish that Seth Rollins had won. Even though I predicted Lesnar was going to win, which I was scarily right on, I really want Rollins to be in that main event. I want Rollins instead of fucking Reigns.
You can almost connect those two superstars to the two big hosses in the company. Roman Reigns to Vince McMahon and Seth Rollins to Triple H. Roman Reigns looks like the next great superstar. He's got the huge build. He's got the look. He looks the part of the next great star, even though he's not quite there yet. Whereas Seth Rollins has worked his way into position. He actually started out as the first NXT champion, and that was NXT's Triple H's baby. And they brought him up and they put him in a position where you could believe that he was the best in the company. You could believe it when he was like main eventing pay-per-views. With Reigns, how many singles matches at pay-per-views did you say he's been in his career?
One.
We are now finally, after, 15 years or 14 years, we're finally seeing the problems with buying WCW and killing the territories. All right, because 30 years ago, the Roman Reigns we're seeing right now may have just been out of Memphis and being handheld through main event matches in the Mid-Atlantic territory by the likes of Ric Flair. And 15 years ago, Roman Reigns would have been a natural-born thriller being thrown to the wolves and having main event rival matches with Booker T and Eddie Guerrero and many other people. In 2015, after just 5 years of being a wrestler, 5 years, Roman Reigns is winning the Royal Rumble and headlining WrestleMania. All right, this isn't like Dean Ambrose or Seth Rollins, who are almost 30 years old and have been training since they were teenagers. No, this isn't like the John Cena, who used to be a bodybuilder, then got in perfect shape and started going to wrestling school for 3 to 4 years before going into WWE developmental and fighting tooth and nail after getting buried in 2003 to headline WrestleMania and win the championship. That is not what's happening right now. Vincent McMahon took one look at Roman Reigns and said, girls will like him. And that's it. That's it. He's skipping all of the titles. He's skipping all of the buildup, and he's going right for the championship, just like Brock Lesnar. Why do you think 2002 was so bad? In fact, it's not even because Brock Lesnar was being pushed. It's because of two things. One, Triple H was halting everyone's progress. And two, people were leaving because Lesnar was getting a push that he didn't work for. Yes, Lesnar is a perfect athlete, but you need to give them time to adjust. The only person I've ever seen that deserved a Lesnar push was Kurt Angle. And that's because the crowd got behind him immediately. Like, that doesn't happen very often. Kurt Angle is one of the only examples you can see of that happening.
I can actually think of another one that kind of sort of worked, and it wasn't in the WWE. Goldberg. Goldberg came in, and he beast moded through everyone. He got the U.S. title super quick, and then he got the... he was basically one of WCW's big attractions right away, and he had barely spent any time building himself up. I think he was in the development for WCW for maybe a couple of months. And he shows up and he's super over because that's one of the other things. He barely talked. He barely talked through that first huge run of his. And they're trying to make Roman Reigns a good or a talker, and he's horrible. He's good when they kind of give him unscripted stuff, but the stuff that they give him to say is literal bottom of the bin material.
Okay, I do want to mention one thing, though, that it's not entirely their fault. Some of it is our fault. Some of it. Like I mentioned before, but if there's one thing that's very true about wrestling fans and WWE fans in general, is that we're kind of impatient. There's so much great wrestling in WWE right now that the fans want to see that new breed of athletic grappling reflected in the upper echelon of the product. Furthermore, when WWE has presented the fans with years of compelling and charismatic performers as main eventers, yes, even John Cena before you say anything, Roman Reigns still appears less than comfortable delivering promos, and that's very disconcerting. For 2 years in a row, WWE failed. They failed miserably. Though largely unprepared for the spotlight then, 2014 should not have been the year of Dave Bautista winning the Rumble. Instead, it really should have been Roman Reigns at that point. Because he was still part of the Shield, he still didn't say much, and there's still stuff that they could have done with them. As well, 2015 could have easily been the year of Daniel Bryan or Dean Ambrose or Bray Wyatt or even Dolph Ziggler, even though Ziggler at this point is kind of a risk. In fact, the Rumble coming down to the two of them shaking hands and having an exciting 5-minute mini-match with Ziggler winning and Bryan raising Ziggler's hand to give him the rub afterwards would have been perfect. Talking about Daniel Bryan and Dolph Ziggler specifically. But instead, WWE's fans were forced to wait. We're forced to wait and see what happens in the road to WrestleMania, as Vince McMahon is very clearly in the mode of building for a 5-year plan with people like Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, with Reigns' Rumble win feeling very, very anticlimactic. Like, did you guys get that? Where the win just didn't mean anything?
Pretty much.
You got that because Vince McMahon is going for the long haul. They are panicking, and they're trying to set out a 5-year plan with Roman Reigns leading the charge. That's what they want, because they realize that Daniel Bryan's hard-hitting style isn't going to last forever. There's only so much that they can do with him. They need a long-term plan, and as such, we're forced to wait.
And you know what? That's sort of understandable. Like, I know that Daniel Bryan doesn't have that much time left. Like, he's only been in the WWE for a couple of years, but people seem to forget that he was in Ring of Honor for like a decade, and he's been I think he's close to 40 at this point.
He's 34 years old,
closer to 40 than you'd think. Like, he's not a young guy anymore, so you can kind of understand why the WWE isn't ready to lean on him. But at the same time, if this is a part of a 5-year plan, then the people like Reigns, the ones who are still sort of in a state of development, they are supposed to get the title towards the end of that 5-year plan. There's supposed to be a build-up for that. There's supposed to be, like, the crowd trying to get into Reigns. And then at the end of it, we're going, yes, Roman Reigns, you have made it. We accept you as our WWE champion. And no, that was about as decisive as you could possibly get. Like, I know that the Philly crowd doesn't necessarily echo our sentiments because we're total fucking smarks, and so is Philadelphia.
Yeah.
But you could tell that, I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm appreciative that we had a voice, that the Philly crowd showed their displeasure so vehemently, and maybe, just maybe they'll do something to, like, spice this up. Maybe a Reigns heel turn, or Ambrose being introduced as like a mouthpiece for him, or The Rock being introduced as a mouthpiece for him, but something to get him over with people. And I'm kind of worried that they aren't going to do that. I'm worried that they're just going to say, you know what? That crowd just didn't get it.
No, that's exactly what they're saying right now. That is. The thing is, they're going to blame it on the Philly crowd, just like they blamed it on the Pittsburgh crowd last year. Just like they constantly blame it on the Madison Square Garden crowd or the Chicago crowd. And then they'll stop going to those places. And then they'll stop going, and they'll just go to places like Corpus Christi, where the crowd just silently marks out, but they don't have a negative perception of the product, so that way they can do whatever the hell they want.
Man, I feel bad for Pennsylvania.
I feel very bad for Pennsylvania right now. WWE's never going back to Philadelphia. They're not. All right,
No.
we fans may be impatient, we may be pickle, but we may be fickle. Sorry, not pickle. Yeah, but that's because we're fed up. All right, we're tired of seeing the same thing week after week, month after month. We are seeing angles and characters and things taking up so much TV time that we saw 5 years ago. You could turn on the product 5 years ago and very little would be different. Triple H would still be authority heel. John Cena would still be overcoming all of those odds. You'd still have those realistic heel characters like CM Punk in the form of Carlito. You'd still have all of that stuff, just with different faces and different names attached. And sometimes the same faces and same names attached.
Well, it's a big show for the past 10 fucking years.
20.
I think, to sum this all up, and I know this is one question we've been avoiding, are we still going to continue to WrestleMania? Are we going to watch WrestleMania? Because I don't know about you guys, even though it kind of hurts, I'm still going to watch WrestleMania. I understand that this main event may not be it's not the best idea. It certainly isn't. But I want to see what else WrestleMania could give us. We're only just starting the road. Maybe it'll get better. But as it stands right now, it's a very, very, very rocky road.
For me, they have 2 weeks. They have 2 weeks. This Raw, if they do a Raw, because the weather is really crappy up in the Northeast right now, and up until they do the Triple H Stone Cold podcast, they have until then to make me not cancel my subscription, because I can pretty much promise you I'm not going to be watching Fastlane through the network. I might find a stream for it, but I am pretty much done with them having my money.
It's free in February, so you can watch it on the network. They're offering
those
Fastlane
crafty
for free.
bitches. Those crafty bitches. They knew this.
They knew this was going to happen.
Yep.
Of course they did.
No, that's the thing, is that they booked everything. They booked everything on purpose to keep you hooked on Roman Reigns. Like I said, Vince has a very long-term plan, and he chose Reigns, and he's sticking with Reigns whether we like it or not. So we just have to wait and see what happens. But unfortunately for Vince, there are some people out there that are not going to wait.
That's why Cancel WWE Network was freaking trending on Twitter worldwide last week.
That was awesome. I am
Number
so
one.
glad that trended worldwide.
Number one trend. And right now, when I woke up this morning, it was number 2, and it is still trending as we speak.
If they don't pay attention to social media and they don't realize this, I think they should be maybe a little bit concerned with what's going on. If they're not going to put Daniel Bryan in there, you know what? You know what would be hilarious? If they put John Cena in his place.
I don't think that'll help.
That's like adding just more fuel to the fire at this point.
The people have spoken that right now they want Daniel Bryan to beat Lesnar. They have chosen their guy, and the WWE has said no, he is not beating Lesnar. And then Roman Reigns is going to beat Lesnar at WrestleMania. Seth Rollins is going to cash in, and Reigns is going to beat Rollins, and there you go. All right, Rollins' case is not going to get cashed in. The heel will not win against Hulk Hogan 2.0.
The sad part is I've been trolling around on the Squared Circle subreddit, and I've seen a couple of really, really good ways that they could make this work. One of them that I saw, tonight on Raw, Brock Lesnar comes out and says that he doesn't feel like there's anybody that can challenge him anymore, so he's just going to drop the belt to Rollins, and then we get Reigns at the main event at WrestleMania for the title, and we get Brock versus Lesnar for not the title at WrestleMania. And that would be kind of cool, but it's not going to happen because they're so firmly sticking to this that, like you said, he's not going to cash in until WrestleMania, and he'll probably not get the title.
Of course not. They're going full hop on Roman Reigns, and they still haven't realized that even their top babyface can and should lose sometimes. They need to lose because the best characters in novels and television shows and movies, the best characters have scars. The best characters have failures. And that is what they need. Cena even has his failures. The problem is that they get it a little bit with Cena, but at the end of the day, those failures turn into successes. And all of this stuff. And it's... I honestly have no idea what they can do to fix this, if anything. All I know right now is that I found my alternative in Lucha Underground, and I'm gonna be following that.
Yes. Lucha Underground is so fucking good.
I wonder why we haven't done a video on Lucha Underground. Maybe that's something we need to do.
I was just about to suggest that we should totally do a freaking video about Lucha Underground.
Are you kidding me? Lucha Underground is second-rate B-plus player. No one's gonna pay attention to that.
He's turned.
Hey, you guys all know that I'm a heel. Lucha Underground for President 2016! Woo!